Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope everyone is having a great week. If you are new to TALRadio, welcome. I'm sure you have found here on the platform a wide array of different podcasts covering different types of content to suit your needs and requirements. And here at Business Influencers, we've been with TALRadio now for going on over 4 years. It is hard to believe that we pioneered the Business Influencer channel back when it started. And again, we encourage everyone to check out the Touch of Life Foundation, which goes by TAL, that's the acronym for Touch of Life, and all the great things they're doing in terms of working with nonprofits as a philanthropic organization. Here at Business Influencers, we are committed each and every week bringing subject matter experts to help you and your business raise its level of influence, because it's through influence you have the ability to build better rapport, trust, either as an individual, a company, and a brand overall, to convert and close more business and create better experiences with the clients, customers that you serve. And with that being said, our show is always supported each and every week by our sponsor, Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. It is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a great show today. We're going to be talking about finding one's purpose in the golden years. So for those individuals that might be on the cusp of retirement, maybe you are already retired, or maybe you're thinking about retiring, maybe sooner than you thought. Now, whatever that may be, and we have plenty of listeners out there that listen to the show in that area. Well, we're with someone that's actually making it happen, somebody I personally know, and we're going to be talking today with Scott Brown. And before I bring Scott on, give a little background about Scott. Scott is a volunteer director of development for Sonoma CAN, an acronym which we'll cover today. He's on the board of directors for them as well. He has been involved in marketing, a seasoned marketer, author, visionary, digital marketing and immersive experience consultant, and it's been also involved in brand marketing in the wine industry, and that's where he happens to reside, up in that area. So he has wine all around him. And without further ado, we welcome Scott Brown to the show. Scott, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. It's been so long since you and I talked, and I've known you, like 6 or 7 years. So it's great to see you, and I really appreciate you getting me on your show.
Absolutely. So Scott, this is wonderful. I mean, I've known you since we've known each other, all the things that you've done, leading up to, you choosing to retire, but not to literally retire. Like, you're still active in doing things, but just like in a different capacity. And I know that you're immersed yourself in the things that not only you enjoy to do, that leverage your skills and strengths, your interests. Let's start there briefly to establish a foundation of, what that means to you. And then talk a little bit about those people that are listening that might be thinking about retiring now, and what can they be doing now to still stay connected, stay sharp and active, and again, going back to the title, live out their purpose in their golden years.
Absolutely. Well, it really comes down to what you find in your career and the purpose that you have for the career. And hopefully you found your purpose. Everybody has their own. And how you find that, it's interesting enough. My father told me when I was younger, he said, Scott, you better like what you do, because you're going to do a hell of a lot of it. And I took that to heart. And my dad was an artist, a professional artist for many, many years. And he did what he loved to do. And I found that my strength was in communications, and it was in writing and doing other things. And I just found that it was perfect for a career, for me to get into marketing, sales, and I created a great career doing that. And then I actually was faced with an opportunity to move to Murcia, Spain. I met a couple of guys at a convention in Long Beach, California, and they were from Spain, and they said, we like what you're doing. We're interested in having you come and be our fractional chief marketing officer. I was ready to go to Spain, Chris. I seriously was. I was right in Murcia, which there's a university there in the middle of the country. And I was going to live on the coast. They were going to sponsor me. I was getting a work visa. All of a sudden, guess what happened? They lost the funding for that project. And they called me and said, we can't have you come out. So I said, oh, no, I can't come out. Then I have another friend in a similar industry. This is in the immersive experience gaming industry, which is a lot of the things that led to, from marketing and the things that are in the virtual reality world that I've been in up to that point. And so I had another friend in London. He said, same thing. He gave me a contract and he lost his funding. So I saw the writing on the wall and I said, you know what? I'm 62 at that point. And it was September, right around my birthday, which is the 1st of September. I said to myself, this is a sign. So I hung it up. I hung it up right then and there. Took some months just to have a good time. And then I got bored. You know me, I get bored about that kind of stuff. So I decided at that point, how am I going to redefine myself? What am I going to become in my golden years? And how am I going to do the things that I want to do? And unfortunately, I had a good career, made good money. I was able to actually retire and collect my Social Security early. I highly recommend that. Make sure you talk to your accountant before you do that. But I found that it would actually worked out better to take it at 62. So I did that. And I was living in Southern California at the time. And then I ended up moving to Northern California in Marin County, just north of San Francisco. Love it here. And then 2 years ago, I moved to Sonoma County, wine country. So where I'm going with this is I did exactly what I did when I was younger to choose the career that I wanted. And this is an easy formula, Chris, seriously. And you do it without even knowing it. And a lot of people do it too. What you do is you say, all right, what do I love to do? And then you figure that out, make a list of what you love to do. Then you say, what am I good at? You make a list of the things you're good at. So you find what you love to do and what you're good at. And then the next question is this, can I make money doing it? Or can I make it a hobby? Or can I make it a side gig, right? So that's exactly what I did. I've been involved for a long time, as you know, with nonprofits. Southern California, I was part of a 9-location Lutheran Social Services. I was involved there heavily. And then when I moved to Northern California, I got involved with a group called We Heart San Francisco down in the Presidio. And we would meet weekly. Now we meet once a month. And I was one of the first to be in that group. And where we take technology, which is, ingrained in San Francisco, and we use technology for nonprofits. So what we do there is homelessness is one of our causes. And then also this month is prevention for human trafficking month. And so we actually are involved in that. Also, in fact, the Warriors, our basketball team, is having a sponsors program. They're playing your team, the Knicks, here at Chase Stadium, or Chase Field. So, and also too, we're doing some really great things. As you probably know, the Super Bowl is coming to San Francisco on the 8th of February. So we're having a breakfast that we're sponsoring locally at the hotels downtown San Francisco. We're going to have all these things going on with nonprofits. And then you mentioned, Sonoma, and that's where I live, which is about 50 miles north of San Francisco, the city. And I live in the wine country. And why do I live in wine country? I've always had a passion for wine. I've always had a good sense for wine, and I always wanted to do that. So why not do it in my retired years? And I was actually working a gig with a marketing company out of San Francisco, and I would actually bring the wines to stores and pour wines, talk about wines with clients in wine country. So it was great. And the funny part is I didn't realize it was a seasonal job. And at the beginning of the year, I got a notice from HR that I was being laid off for a seasonal position, which is fine. It was a part-time gig for like 12 to 16 hours a week. And it was fun money, right? I didn't need the money, but I wanted to get out there and do that. So one, find out what you love, find out what you're good at. I was really good at that. I was actually selling a bunch of Duckhorn wine and a bunch of Rutherford wine and a lot of the local wines. And like you mentioned, there's so many wineries here. There's 430 wineries just in Sonoma alone where I live. And then over the hill in Napa, there's another 100, 400 and whatever. Plus all along the coast of California, Central Coast, Southern California, everywhere is wine. So I found that's my passion. I lost that, but I'm going to find it again because you know what I'm doing is I'm looking for a way to replace that. And so I actually reached out through Indeed, job opportunities for brand ambassador and also for wine tasting and things like that. And then I actually took the short list of the wineries within 10 minutes from me, because there's a lot. And I actually sent them my resume just because, and I actually got responses from that too. So I'm just kind of waiting on that. And I also found an opportunity. I love cooking. In fact, I've got a challenge this year, 50 slow cooked meals for 50 weeks. And so I'm working that. And I actually found a position that I got a job offer, and I'm taking it to do, it's called Healthy Bites Demo Company. And so I'll be going to gourmet shops and basically selling cheeses. And they don't do wine, but I'll be doing cheeses.
Cheese and wine go together, so it'll complement the wine, right?
Well, I won't be able to do wine. They don't do wine, but I do have a license for the next 3 years to pour wine in California. So if they decide that they want to do it, and if I'm still with them, great. And it's an independent contractor position, so I'll run it through my LLC and everything. So there's a fun thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So those are two nonprofit fun things that I do. The one is for profit, the other one's nonprofit. But my main thing that I do is here in Sonoma County is a social services nonprofit called Sonoma CAN. CAN is Community Action Network. And we're the largest. We've been around since the 1960s. Actually, when I guess it was Johnson who rolled out some of these programs back in the day.
Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. And so we have the Head Start program. We get a contract for about $9 million a year for Head Start. We're a little skittish right now because we got some freezes going on. Don't want to get into the politics of that. But we serve the those that need help in our community, the migrant workers, people that actually, because we're heavy on wine, those that tend the field and all that. So I am using my skills in development and marketing. In fact, I had a meeting this morning, and we're moving along. We actually hired an outside agency to help us. And before that, we had a department of one communications manager, but now we've got a bunch doing volunteers, getting volunteers coming in. And we're doing a grassroots campaign this year called Seeding. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the community, not ask for money, but we're going to make friends. I'm going to be going to chamber meetings, it'll be great. I got to tell you, Chris, it's going to be so much fun going to chamber meetings, going to ribbon cutting, lunches, doing speaking engagements. I'll probably need your help on that because you're the speaker. You don't have to come out unless you want to come out for some wine. Anyway,
I don't drink wine, but I know people that do, and no, I'll be happy to chat on that and see what I can do to value. Absolutely.
So I'm getting my tentacles out there, as you know I do, and I'm getting out all the way into even San Francisco and the people I know. Like for instance, we're doing a program where we're going to do tax seasons for people that can't afford it, and migrant people that their second language is English. So I actually have a friend who has a friend who's going to get me 12 laptops, some Chromebooks, because we need them because the equipment that we have from last year is terrible. So the CEO said, can you find that? And I find those things. So we're going to partner with a winery at some point. We're going to partner with some other things. And frankly, the development department has been miserably bad until I'm just volunteering. It's volunteer work. In fact, I was there this morning. They got me a little office with a little view of the street, and back at it, Chris. It's like almost working again, but volunteer. They don't even know what to do with me. They want to compensate me somehow in kind. They're big on gift cards. I think I'm going to be living on gift cards. I'm going to go to a restaurant. They're going to say, how would you like to pay for that? Your Visa or your Visa gift card? And it's going to be my Visa gift card because that's what they're going to probably pay me with. They don't even know. HR has no idea what to do with a guy like me who has so much energy to help an organization. I sit on the board. Most of the board members don't do anything that I can see. I've only been on the board for 4 months now. And then I actually ended up volunteering because our CEO used to be the development manager. She can't do it. And I said, look, Kathy, I'll do it. And I did. What do they say, Chris? Give something that you need done to somebody who's busy. And that's how you get it done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. And Scott, so somebody that's listening, you mentioned you covered a lot of great grounds. You gave kind of like what you did. You gave some suggestions. let's just say, for instance, like, the reality is somebody, let's say they got laid off and they're like 61, 62.
Right.
They're looking for another job, but that equivalent type of job is just not coming because, a lot of companies don't want to pay somebody with all that experience. They rather probably hire someone younger, pay them less. So now they're thinking like, hey, maybe I don't have to retire completely. I can do something, but then maybe I can retire. But so share some some additional insights how they can like bridge that, like where they're still living, they can retire and do what they want to do, and yet they can still work and still make ends meet and still enjoy their life.
Well, what I did, if I use that as an example, I took early Social Security. I paid a lot into Social Security. A lot of people don't realize that you fund your Social Security and you get paid every month in retirement, pretty much what you put in, and it's a percentage, it's all numbers and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm fortunate enough, I don't have my kids as dependents anymore. I'm not married, I'm single, and I cut way, way, way back, okay? I actually live and have additional money just from my Social Security alone. So if you can do that and live on that, and you still cut coupons and you still go to happy hour and all these other things, but you can actually survive if you made enough money and paid enough money into Social Security and you don't have a lot of expenses and you cut way back. In fact, I just paid my car off, so I got an additional $450 a month to put into investments into my E-Trade accounts.
Payment anymore, and you don't have to live in a 4 or 5 bedroom house anymore because you're
not at all. I live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 55 or older community. I'm 63, so I live in a 55 older community.
Oh, that's the way to do it. That's what me and Maria, we're considering doing the same thing because my son.
Well, CJ's gone, so he's out of college.
He's in college, yeah. So we can do that now, and we don't have to. Even though I live here and I don't have a mortgage, but we have options now. We can rent this place and then go somewhere where it's going to be less expensive with taxes and we can do that. So I'm taking some of your suggestions.
You and I are faced. California's expensive. Northern California, where I used to live in Marin County, very expensive. Southern California, I lived in Palos Verdes, extremely expensive. Yeah. And then where you live near New York City, you've got high costs of living. So it's not easy to do. But what I did was I pulled back as much as I could on expenses, and I invested well, fortunately, and I actually had some 401ks that I converted to IRAs, a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. I've already burned through those because I'm in retirement, so pushed those out. Didn't really need that much. I still have my Fidelity account for that actually ran that, but I actually do E-Trade now. I'm doing some E-Trade, which is kind of fun monthly. I'm putting some of that money that I'm saving from not having the car payment. I'm also doing some other things too. I think you knew I was involved with originating loans back in the day. I'm actually getting involved with mortgage or real estate without renters, where I'm putting together groups and we're buying notes that are either performing or non-performing, and we're helping people keep their homes, which is a great thing to do. We're taking over these loans from the banks, we're buying them at discounts, and I'm putting together a group of folks.
Are they tax liens? Like tax liens?
No, they're not liens at all.
Oh.
What it is okay, somebody has a first, maybe a second on their mortgage. They have their mortgages, and they live in Ohio, where the costs are low. The bank hasn't been paid, so they don't know what to do with it because they'll probably foreclose. Instead, they'll sell it to private money folks like my group, and what we'll do is we'll buy it, and then we become the servicer, and then we actually either restructure a loan or we keep the loan the way it is and try to keep them in the house.
If they default, then you can take over the asset.
Well, if we have the first, if you have the second, you're waiting in line on the second.
Yeah.
So I actually am part of two groups. One of them actually out of Philadelphia, they focus on the second. I don't do that much with them, but the other group is in Florida and they focus on the first. And usually it's the ones that I really like are the ones where it's like $30,000 mortgage, cheap, and you buy the mortgage at a discount, and then you contact the owner, say, "Hi, I'm your new bank. I'm going to be nice to you. I like you. I want you to stay in your home. I understand." And you do the research because you go public records. I use a virtual assistant out of the Philippines. So overnight, guess what? I got the information the next morning about, they do all the research on, are they going through a divorce? Did they file bankruptcy? Some of these things I just don't touch, but some of them I'm willing to actually take a risk. It's great stuff. It's cash flow. So that's another thing that somebody can do, is find cash flow abilities, find, I guess, earned income, which I had, which I actually was an employee. Recently, the new opportunity I have with the gourmet place is a 1099, which I prefer because I'm controlling my tax situation. I'm controlling my expenses. I can write off my expenses. All that good stuff is through my LLC.
I think a good thing for you is when you turn 65, you'll be eligible for Medicare, and now your health insurance will be a lot.
I still get Medicare. I get Medicare now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I'm on a Medicare Advantage plan here in California.
Wow.
I used to be on Aetna. Yeah, I get Medicare Advantage. I even get I got an over-the-counter credit card that allows me every quarter $140 worth of
they offer that with Advantage plans. Yeah, holy cow. Now, how did you get that before 65? How do that work?
I'm not going to tell you my secrets.
All right.
I'll tell you.
We don't want to open up a can of worms. Yeah, I hear you saying, because it might
I mean, actually, interesting enough, my Medicare Part B went down this year. I got a notice the other day from Social Security, because that's where it comes from. And it went from like $185 a month for Medicare Part B
it's like $205 or something like that.
No, actually mine, I thought I was going to pay more. Chris, for whatever reason, I got this letter. I have it sitting right here next to me. $167. I'm paying $167 for Medicare Part B, and I have a Medicare Advantage plan. I pay nothing, and I see all the doctors that I want to see in Sonoma County, and I utilize I've got a $4,000. You really want to talk about this stuff? I've got a $4,000 allowance for dental. I have to actually have dental work done on a crown that has a root.
The Advantage plans in California are very generous.
Yeah, I mean, this is a California specific. I had Aetna, and Aetna pulled out of California, so I was kind of sweating it to think what I'm going to get. My choices were United Healthcare, which I don't really like, and then a couple of other ones that are local. And then all of a sudden, this one showed up, and it's actually, I said, no, it's an HMO. I said, no. I wanted a PPO. But then I realized that I'm staying in network, and it was fine, even with the HMO. And I have Delta Dental with this plan. Then I have BSP for vision. So they use all the best of the best.
Great. Well, that's fabulous. Guys, I can tell you, the cost of healthcare is in itself. I know people that go back to work just for the healthcare because they can't afford it.
I mean, when I was on my own and I had my kids still as dependents, I don't even want to tell you how much I spent every month on healthcare. And it was, and and they're growing kids, and then you got to get, like my older son played a little bit of football in high school, so you got to have additional riders. It was like a mess. You know what it's like. You got a son.
No, and I'm at an age where it's very high because of my age. Even I'm 58 going on 59, so it's going to be it's not going to be good until I turn 65. At this point. But nonetheless, now that my son's on, another maybe 6 years, he'll be on his own. He'll have his own insurance, and it'll just be me and my wife.
You can get him on a college insurance plan.
Yeah,
he can get it through college.
I have to check that out with his university. But let's keep it on the topic that what you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is about the listeners. That's okay.
Okay, so I guess the bottom line, Chris, you want me to get the bottom line is prepare. The bottom line is to invest, and the other thing, more importantly, is to reduce your expenses. The whole thing is make more money in, and less taxable money, earned money, but make as much coming in and less going out. And that's the secret. And no, it's not.
That's great advice, because I think when people make more money, it's more tax. And it's more likely because they think they have more money, they start to purchase things that they shouldn't. They have that impulse. I can treat myself again, and And then they buy
You know
something that they didn't.
By
Really
the way,
need.
you know what? It's okay to treat yourself. Last week, I went to a resort in Napa, California. Amazing Meritage Resort and Spa just outside of Napa. Beautiful property, and the spa was built into a hill. And so I went into the spa. I said, "Oh my God, this is amazing." I went by myself. I went to the men's area. I had it all day by myself. They had a Serenity room that you could go into, which is co-ed, and then the pool area, and amazing. And it's not expensive. Actually, I'm part of this discount where it's spa day or some spa resort day or resorts, whatever it's called. Anyway, I got like 20% off. And so for less than $100, I had a full day at the spa.
Wow. Well, like you said, you take advantage. You talked about preparation, and you recognize where there's these opportunities that you could take advantage of and get something for less than what you would normally get it for. And I think that comes down to planning, and and if you're not prepared, you're not going to see those opportunities. So I think that's great advice.
And the other thing is, you already know too, is OPM, other people's money, or better yet, OPM also with credit cards, how to float. You don't spend your money, you save your money when you make your money, and then you use your credit cards and you buy your essentials with your credit cards and then pay them off with the money that you have, and you float it 60 days, 90 days sometimes. So you're always not paying any interest, and you're not using your own money. OPM, other people's money.
That's fabulous. Scott, this is just great information. As we get near the end of the show, I wanted to leave about a minute and a half. Anything that you'd like to leave the listeners, like before you let them know about where to find you, like something to this topic, something that's going to leave them like, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull the trigger and make this happen.
Right. It's all individual. I actually am in a position where I can do this because I don't have the dependents anymore. And my kids don't need me. They're all both have great careers, independent. I'm not married. I do have some women in my life, and one who's going to actually be more specific with me, which is great. I'm happy about that. So it's all about finding your purpose, being good at it, really enjoy what you do, and just do a hell of a lot of it and just have fun. And there's no reason you can't change course. If you find you don't like what you're doing, don't do it. I mean, it's pretty simple. Most people, and if you're not overextended and you live within your means, you can move. You can be as nimble as possible. You can be super nimble.
Yeah.
And kind of one of the things that reason I wanted to come on here and talk to you, Chris, about this is I've been approached by an organization to actually, and it's called Holistic Course Creator. And you might know her, Jenny Rice. She's out of Toronto, and she was educated in the States in Massachusetts. Yeah. Anyway, she approached me and she said, I think you could write content, and we'll create the course for you, an online course talking exactly what I'm talking about, these points, but elaborating on them more and having more interaction with people that would be interested in purchasing the course. So I'm kind of sinking my teeth on this with you to see what the results are from your audience, and seeing if it's actually something that would make sense for me to make an investment, time-wise, money-wise, to have her actually create the course and me doing the content.
Well, we could definitely have a chat on that. And as we're near the end of the show, and I want to first thank you for taking the time to be here with us.
That's my pleasure, Chris. I haven't seen you for a while, and follow in LinkedIn, and we got to get together again. Maybe we're going to have that meeting in Albany again and head down to the city.
I haven't heard from her in a while, but yeah, absolutely. But let the audience know, if they want to reach out and get some more insight, how can they contact you, and anything that you'd like to provide them?
The best way is, and I'm very active as you are, you're super active in LinkedIn. I've never seen somebody who posts 3 or 4 times a day, but you do.
I have help.
Well, but you always have some fresh things to do, and I do also. For a while there, when I first retired, I got away from LinkedIn. I didn't need it, but now that I'm looking to have opportunities in the community with business owners, and I put my business hat on. I'm putting on the suit, putting on the stuff. I still am doing that kind of stuff, doing a little speaking. Anyway, how to get a hold of me, the best thing to do is LinkedIn, and follow me in LinkedIn. I'm Scott Brown out of San Francisco or Bay Area, or I don't even know my LinkedIn numbers. I think it's Scott D. Brown LLC, which I still have. But look at my face.
Well, we'll make sure to have that in the show notes. We'll have it in the show notes.
That's the best way to get a hold of me. I do everything pretty much as you do, Chris, in LinkedIn. I don't even have a website anymore. You know, I used to create websites and all that part of my marketing. Don't do that anymore. I may do that again, not to make money at it, but I might just have the real Scott Brown website or something. I don't know.
Well, Scott, thank you so much. We appreciate this, your words of wisdom and your insights that came from the heart today. We highly encourage everyone listening and those listening later, reach out to Scott, reach out to him on LinkedIn as well. If for any reason you reach out to us, we'll make sure to connect you. Again, if you've been thinking about this, that maybe you've been forced out, or maybe this is something you like after hearing this, you're like, wow, I think I'm going to do this. Make sure you connect with Scott. Till then, everybody, want to wish everybody a great rest of your week. And again, if you'd like to see future content that we have not covered on this show, feel free to reach out to our team here at chris@christophersalem.com. And we'll be back next week with another subject matter expert sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your level of influence to the next level. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.